Hey you guys, this is Jamie with milkallergymom.com. I promised to come on here tonight in the 7 o'clock hour to share with you a milk recall that recently affected our family and a reaction that my son had because of these cookies that were contaminated with milk. And we also are going to have, hopefully, another food allergy mom who is one of our readers, and her daughter also had a reaction to these cookies. It was more severe. Hi Judith, thanks for being here again. Her daughter Lillian's reaction was more severe than my son's, but I am talking about the company called Back to Nature. A lot of us do like using their brand. When we look at the ingredients, we don't see that milk is on a lot of their products, and several of us like that they are natural and GMO free and just really good for us, and so a lot of us are using their products. So I just want to tell you, so we're going to go over one, my son's reaction, and then we're going to go over my discussions with the president of Back to Nature. And in the middle of all that, my friend Cheryl, whose daughter also had a reaction, is welcome to comment and give some commentary to what I'm explaining from our experience in relation to her experience. So I will get started by saying that my son loves their crackers. We eat their crackers a lot, and I have a whole bunch of product here to show you guys too. So I'm going to get through all of that and explain the products that I have here. So he eats their crackers. We really like their graham crackers. And one weekend we were out of town and we were at soccer games out of town, and our tradition with his new traveling soccer team is to hit the local Target or Walmart to get our lunch. You can usually find safe products, and we just build a lunch on the go there at Target or Walmart. So this particular town had a Target, and we went in, and I was pretty excited because they had new things that our local Target doesn't have. And one of those was a big lineup of the Back to Nature products. And a lot of you guys know I am an Ibotta fan, so the app on our phones, and if somebody wants to leave a note for me to link that for you if you haven't seen it before, we save hundreds of dollars on the Ibotta app, and the Back to Nature was on the app. So my husband doesn't go to Target very often with me, and I was bragging, this app's awesome, this Target's awesome, they have all this Back to Nature stuff, watch how I do this, I'm going to get all these boxes of treats, and we're going to get all this money back. So I was kind of showing him how Ibotta works, and actually talking to the president of the company later, he's like, well, it's good to know that that app works, and he even called in one of his managers to say, hey, they're buying our products with the app. So that was kind of funny. So I bought several crackers and 2 boxes of their chocolate chip cookies. Now I am going to put a big disclaimer here that I have been a milk allergy mom for 11 years, and in hindsight I totally, and I know some of you guys know but better than I did on this, that buying something with a chocolate in it was, I mean, I knew this. I did not let him eat the cookie while we were out of town. It's something that we don't often buy. We buy the crackers more often, but this was an actual chocolate chip cookie that did not have milk listed as an ingredient. But in hindsight, one lesson, and this is what you have to do when something happens, and I bet that Cheryl will say this too. Cheryl, let us know if you're on and what you would say your lesson has been. But usually when we have some kind of reaction, there's always a lesson to take away from it. And so that is my first bit of advice, is when you do have something happen, your child does have a reaction, use that as what can we do better next time. And what I took away from that is, and I knew this in the back of my head, and this is what's funny, you just kind of live life and things happen and you learn a lesson and you kind of forget about it. But for Miles to not have products that look milk-free but have a straight up chocolate in them, like a chocolate chip, unless it's Enjoy Life. Big plug for one of our favorite chocolate companies, Enjoy Life, and I know that they're in a dedicated facility now, and have top 8 allergy free. Hi, Cheryl. Thank you for being here. Cheryl, if you can type in, I'm so glad you figured out Facebook Live, but if you can share, I'll explain your story too after I tell about Miles's, but if you can tell us one of your quick, at some point when it makes sense, what big lesson you learned from Lillian's reaction, that would be great. But for us, it was no products with chocolate in them. There are actually studies out that even chocolates that say that they're dairy-free are oftentimes contaminated with at least cross contact of dairy. So Enjoy Life, Pasha is one of our new favorite chocolates. Those are what we're sticking with. But if there is a cookie, and like Jeff said, gosh, those tasted just like Chips Ahoy. He's like, those tasted just like that. Like, and they do. They're really good chocolate chip cookies. But Miles reacted to it. So my big lesson, no chocolate in anything unless I know it's really, really an allergy safe. Like Lucy's cookies, they make some chocolate chip cookies that are safe for us too. So that was my takeaway after it all happened. But so basically we were at the soccer field. I bought all this stuff at Target, and Miles really wanted those cookies for his lunch. And I said, no, you don't have them very often. We are out of town. We're not going to eat anything remotely new or different. So thank God we made that decision, because it would have been a lot worse if he had had his reaction while we were out of town. But I did say when we were going to lunch, when we were out of town at soccer, I asked my husband, did we look up where the hospital is before we go into Target and put together this lunch? So we did know where the hospital was. That's another tip that I would give you when you're out of town anytime. Make sure that you know where the hospital is. Even though in a reaction now they say to call 911 and have the ambulance come, it's always good to know how close you are to the nearest one as you're eating and doing your things out of town with food allergies. Your son loves Lucy's and Enjoy Life. Lucy's is really good. We used to eat those a lot. I need to eat some more. We're glad you're on here, Judith. So he did not, thank goodness, eat the cookies while we were out of town. So then we got home and we had the cookies in our cabinet, and at one point he asked if he could eat them one day when Jeff was at work. And I said, no, we'll wait till your dad gets home. You haven't had those cookies for a long time. So my gut instinct was these are a little iffy, and I want to make sure that we eat them at the right time. So I don't remember what it was, but it seems like it was a special certain day. But anyway, Jeff was home on a weekend, and they were downstairs playing computer games. Can Miles have the cookies? Yeah, this is as good a time as any. And I told him another thing. I knew that it was something we hadn't had recently, and I said take one bite and make sure that they are good for you. So another thing, that's just a precaution that we take, and we don't have them very often. It's a mainstream brand that may have some contamination. It's not a special allergy safe food. Take one bite. So it turns out after about 5 minutes, when he came up saying his throat felt funny, he forgot to do the one bite and ate the whole cookie. And now as I'm saying that right now, I'm like, maybe there should be something where I make sure he only takes the one bite of new foods, because there's always going to be something. Last night he tried So Delicious's eggnog, which is egg-free, and it was made with coconut milk. And we actually had his throat feel funny with a silk eggnog last year. And so I said, one sip, I'm pretty sure it'll be okay. This is a different brand than the other one that you had, but one taste, make sure it's okay. And he knows he looks at the clock, waits 10 minutes, and was like, Mom, it's good. Can I drink some more? So that is what our protocol is, but he did eat the whole cookie, forgetting to do the one bite. He was super excited to eat the chocolate chip cookie. So maybe he's 11. So what do you guys think? Would you supervise an 11-year-old on their one bite of something I would love to know if you guys can leave comments on what you do when you try something new. Do you have the one bite rule? How long do you wait? And do you supervise that to make sure that they don't forget? So a lesson in this for you guys is that, I mean, he's 11. I would have thought he would have remembered, but he forgot and ate the whole thing. So he didn't eat two because he already started feeling the tight throat after about 5 minutes. So Becca, you would supervise. I always have my daughter take one bite and wait 15 minutes. How old is she, Becca? Thanks for being here. So he ate the whole cookie, and Jeff came up and said, Miles's throat feels funny. And you guys know this feeling. Your heart just sinks. And you start thinking, okay, what do we do next? You get out your action plan and you start thinking fast. Try new foods, one bite, wait a bite. Very good. So we did that. I'm just wondering if I need to supervise that bite because he forgot to only take one. And I don't know. He's so sensitive. And you guys, this also is a big lesson for me because we have not had a reaction in a while. And it's kind of, I want you guys to know as readers that we are that sensitive. So it ends up, it was just a cross-contamination. It was not a milk ingredient, but it was contaminated in the company that made their chocolate chips. And when I talked to the president, they had had about 6 reactions. So my title, Milk Allergy Mom, unfortunately, suits me pretty strongly. We are super sensitive still. And so I will get into that whole conversation in a little bit, but just know I'm totally milk allergy mom still. And in fact, at some point the company told me that they were containing milk. And honestly, I kind of did the happy dance because it ended up not being a horrible reaction. And I thought, wow, he ate milk in chocolate chips. Like, we need to go get tested. This looks really good. But it turned out they were just minute minute contamination, so it wasn't a good ending story for us. Let's see, where am I? So he had his reaction. I don't want to spend a lot of time on that because I really don't want to advise you guys on how to treat your reactions because everybody is different. Miles has a certain history that we go by. We had his allergist on the phone at 10 p.m. asking what she recommended. We only had one symptom. He was acting normal and not panicky like he has before, and we have had this history of a cross-contamination with I talked about his reaction to silk nog, but he also has a very high cashew allergy, and so some foods he has had that have cashews in their plants, and he's had the little reactivity to that. Cheryl's lesson was more about trust. We've been eating the same cookies for years, but we can't trust just the package. We need to be super vigilant in regards to calling the companies. And I agree, Cheryl, I am getting a lot better at calling the companies as well. Early on, we really, as long as the label looked good and things were going well, we didn't question really processing. But I'm realizing how easy it is to call the companies now, and the companies are really equipped to answer our questions now. If you call a company and ask how their processing is for food allergies, they're usually they don't do what they used to do, like, what are you talking about? Food allergies? We don't know what you're speaking about. But now they have talking points and they are ready to answer our questions. So yeah, don't ever hesitate to call companies now. About processing, and if you don't think that you got a person that knows what they're talking about, ask for somebody else or a manager, or don't eat the food if you don't get the indication that they know. That's a good one, Cheryl. That's why I had you on here. So with Miles, it ended up being okay. One symptom with the allergist walking us through what to do, and he ended up okay. So we did not have to epi. But I do not want to steer you guys. I don't want to spend a lot of time on that because I don't want to steer you in the wrong treatment, because it's very specific, and make sure that you have an action plan with your allergist based on your history. So, and again, with the eggnog, Miles, that was probably, I am led to believe, a cashew contamination. So he's very highly sensitive and allergic to cashew. So, Cheryl, I'm going to share about your story because it's more severe, and so I'm going to tell a little bit about what I know from what you emailed me, and then we'll get into the company. And I have a bunch of products here, and I'll explain why I have them and what the president has told me so far. I am hopeful that we are still going to be in communication about a few more things as they work them out. So with Cheryl, I forgot, Cheryl, did you comment on Facebook? I had put that I'll tell you what happened was, so we bought the cookies, he ate the cookie, he had the mild reaction. I wasn't quite sure. I mean, it was no doubt that he reacted. He's old enough that we know that it's legit. He really was reacting to it. And I think it was like the next day, I thought, you know what? I bet it was the chocolate chips. Because he eats the crackers and everything fine. And I actually thought to myself, and I put it on Facebook with you guys. I was kind of hashing it out. I thought, it has to be like a third-party chocolate chip contamination. I bet that's what it was. And the next day, I wanted to call the company, but I got really busy, and so it was on my to-do list. Call the company and ask, has anybody else had a reaction to your cookies? And, you know, does something need to be done? I didn't get the call made the next day, but I was hashing it out on Facebook with you guys. And the next day, I wake up in the morning, I open up my email, and it was like total confusion because I have this email from the FDA that says back to nature, which those words just stood out to me like like a neon sign. Back to nature recalls chocolate chunk cookies. And my little brain couldn't even process. Like at first I thought, oh my gosh, they emailed me because they know we had a reaction. And then I was like, but wait, how do they know we had a reaction? And then I was like, oh my gosh, they have recalled these cookies. Oh my gosh, it totally was a milk. And so at that point, I knew it was milk recall. I knew other people reacting. And I immediately got out of bed and got on the phone and gave them a call. So when I called, I just got some person just that answers the phones, and I said, I see you guys have a cookie recall, and my son reacted 2 days ago. He's highly allergic to milk, and I'm just calling to see what you guys need from me and what we need to do. And so he took the product code, and I think we just kind of hung up. You know, he wanted to know the product and make sure he was okay. I said yes. Luckily, yes, and I don't know if he's the one I asked. Have other people called? I think he is the one who said, yeah, we've had a handful of people call, and I said, well, I hope that nobody had anything more severe than us. And I was really, really worried. I have never been part of a national recall before, and that was just a really weird experience. So I just felt really, my heartstrings were just stretched so far, just worried about all the other people that called in. I wanted to be like, who are they? Can I call them? I want to make sure they're okay. But then I had put on Facebook about it, and I think Cheryl commented on Facebook that she had reacted to, and I was like, are you serious? I want to know more. I hope you guys are okay. And so she had said, yeah, she learned about it on Facebook. So she had said that and I believe her daughter is 6 and was at school and had 2 of the cookies packed in her lunch. And Cheryl got a call. I think that she lives really close, I think. If I'm remembering right. I should have went over your email, Cheryl. I'm sorry. Lives close to the school and got a call that she was having a reaction. Lillian's 6 years old. And so she rushed over to the school. Did they epi Cheryl at the school, or did you epi 2 minutes away? Okay, I remembered right. And did you epi when you got there, or did the school epi? So she says that she was sitting across from her friends and that her friends noticed that she was not right before she even knew that she was not. So she's eating the cookies. There were 2 in her lunchbox. Cheryl epied when she got there. So do you know how long it was after she ate the cookies, Cheryl? Would you say like 10 minutes or maybe? So her little friends, bless their hearts, and this is makes me want to cry. She was sitting at lunch with her friends, and they noticed that her face was getting red. And they said, "Your face is red. What's wrong with you?" I'm thinking that's what Cheryl said. And so that's kind of, I don't know if Lillian got help herself or if her friends. Cheryl, this is all like, all these details are really important to me. It was a delayed reaction almost an hour later. Oh my goodness. That is, I didn't know that. That's something. So she wasn't sitting at the lunch table anymore. Was she sitting in class and her face started to get red and her little friends noticed. And Cheryl was called. It sounds like she got there quickly. She lives 2 minutes from the school and did the epi herself, but they had it ready. So it sounds like the school had the epi and knew hopefully how to use it. She was in class, not the lunchroom. And it was an hour later. I don't even like that. I like to think that we'll know within 20 to 30 minutes, but that's a big lesson to Cheryl that it took an hour. And I wonder, she's sick, so I wonder if she carries the epi herself. I wonder if she didn't feel right sooner than an hour. But it does come on fast, I would think. So bless the little hearts of her friends who noticed that her face was getting really red. You went and you epied. And did you only epi once, Cheryl? My memory, I need to have dinner. I'm not remembering everything correctly. So you epied, and then I assume you either took her to the hospital or called an ambulance. And I'm wondering if you epied twice. Red and swollen. Oh man, yeah. When Miles has had his anaphylactic episode eating a bite of cheese when he was almost 3, his bottom lip swelled so big and fast that I thought it was going to break. I was like, his lip is going to burst. And he had just eaten 2 bites, teeny toddler bites of Kraft cheese square. So 1 epi. That is good news. So it was just 1 epi. And then you were at the hospital. And so we connected, Cheryl and I, on Facebook over our reactions to the cookies. And so Cheryl thinks, and I don't know if you figured it out, Cheryl, that she ate 2 of them. I know that Miles ate 1. We live 4 minutes from the ER. I felt confident driving there. Okay, very good. So she drove to the ER, and what was I asking? She ate 2 cookies, you think. You packed 2, and she was done with lunch, and she was back in the classroom, so I bet that she did. If I was a little girl, I would eat both cookies. So she probably ate the 2, which if Miles had eaten 2, there's a chance that we would have also been doing the epi. She did eat the 2. Okay, there's a chance that we would have been doing the EpiPen and in the ER. So Miles just ate 1. And if he had only eaten the 1 bite, like I had asked him to do, it probably would have been even less of a reaction. So they did the epi. And so we are so glad that Lillian is all better. But I know that she is dealing with things in the aftermath that I am not. So which cookies are we talking about? We are talking about chocolate chunk back to nature cookies. They, I believe, have gotten this all resolved, but so what happened is the chocolate chunk back to nature cookies, which actually has a chocolate chip in them, which I have figured out again in hindsight. We are not going to eat cookies that have, or anything that has a chocolate chip, a straight up chocolate in it, unless we know it's a super allergy safe chocolate, because so much chocolate is contaminated, studies have shown. So Pamela, I hope that makes sense. They have a chocolate chunk cookie. And so what happened next, Cheryl? We're so glad that Lillian is better, But the aftermath of Lillian's experience is different than Miles's, and it probably has a lot to do with the reactions because Miles's was not as severe, and Lillian had to have the EpiPen, but she had a hard time eating for a while, and she may still. Cheryl, you can tell us as much as you want to tell us about that, but she was just really anxious about eating and even maybe foods that she's used to eating. I don't know, Cheryl, you can clarify on that if you want to, that they kind of had that struggle and extreme anxiety, didn't trust anything. Oh, bless her heart. That just, and I wonder if it's the difference between a girl and a boy, if it's the difference between a tween and a 6-year-old, a severe reaction, a not severe reaction. So those are all things. Becca, Cheryl's daughter, is 6, and my son is 11. Miles's was a mild reaction that had one symptom, and with our allergist on the phone with us, we resolved at home, and Cheryl did an epi and was in the ER with her 6-year-old. So Cheryl has struggled with packaged foods for a while, and that's why she is learning to call the companies and have that conversation. Her daughter is nervous, understandably so, and so having those phone calls with the companies is just one extra measure of research before you eat the food. And so Miles didn't have much worry about eating, and they talk about this stuff with tweens too, about how they're more they take risks and they don't worry about stuff as much. I mean, he's a very type A, and I'm going to catch Pamela's comment real quick before it goes away. My daughter eats those too, and she is severe dairy allergic. I guess no more. What did the company say? Do you think we should stop buying Back to Nature? I'm going to get to that, Pamela. I'm just going to give out straight out fact that the company has told me, and then you guys can do what you want with that. And I should be getting more information from them that I will share as soon as I have it. So I have the president on email, and I can call him anytime. And I don't know, maybe he's doing this because I'm a food blogger and I will share or tell information, but that's okay. I'm going to use that position that I have to do as much as I can to help you guys out. So I'm going to get to that. So let's see what happened next. The same day that I called and said we had the reaction, I kind of just talked to the front desk guy, took my information. I had a second person call, and thank goodness I kept answering the phone because I get random calls a lot during the day, and it's like always spammy people, and I don't answer. So for some reason I answered all these calls. I started figuring out they were coming from Florida. So that was good. So I answered the second call, and Becca, that's sweet of you. Your husband, I know I drove my husband nuts reading all the labels. Right. Well, you guys are going to find out it's very important to read the labels, if not call the companies. Because let me just say real quick, Back to Nature is not like an allergy friendly. They don't market themselves as an allergy safe company. They market themselves as a natural company and as a GMO free company with recycled packages. They're very green thinking, but they're not specifically allergy free friendly. And so I think sometimes us food allergies can get that, us parents of food allergy children can get that confused, because a lot of like the vegan companies and the allergy free companies are really green and eco-friendly minded, and sometimes the two kind of go hand in hand. And I know that's one reason I really liked Back to Nature too, just that they were natural foods and not as many ingredients and chemicals and cruddy ingredients for us to read through. So that was really helpful that the lists were smaller. But this is another lesson. It doesn't necessarily mean that they are allergy safe. And so I got the second call, and it was a lady, and she just wanted to confirm the product codes with me. And again, check on how my son was doing and to apologize. And so I gave her the product codes again. Actually, she had misread, or the guy had miswritten, and they thought there were new codes that weren't in the recall, and she was on it to double check. She's like, okay, I thought that was right, but I just wanted to make sure there wasn't more to this recall. we get so excited. We do too, Cheryl. I mean, we're all onto this Pasha chocolate now. It's like my new favorite thing. It was like, yes, a safe food. And the nog that Miles drank last night, we just were super excited that it didn't have a bad effect. But So Delicious does cashew, and so that doesn't mean that the next batch won't be contaminated. So even when we find things that work the first time, it doesn't always mean they're going to work the next time. So, and some of that's out of our control. If we called the company and we got the information and, it's not 100%, which really stinks, which is why I like to be on here sharing with you guys, because any experience that we can, look at my crazy hair, any experience that we can take from other allergy families, I think is invaluable. It just helps us be armed with the information that we need to make wiser decisions for our kids. So, to the company. So the second lady called me, I verified the codes, and then my phone rang a couple hours later. Florida. We are talking about Back to Nature, Allison, chocolate chunk cookies. It was a recall about, Cheryl, was it a month ago? But it's taken Cheryl and I this long to get on here. And honestly, I was waiting for some more final thoughts from the company, but I haven't gotten them yet. And Cheryl and I were I didn't want to lose, sometimes after so long, you kind of lose not emotion, I don't want to say that, but just the details of what happened. And I didn't want for that to happen. So yes, thank you, Cheryl. Back to Nature chocolate chunk cookies. So the next call, the third call, was the president of the company. And so I really want to talk to you guys about that. He called, he said, I am the president of Back to Nature. And I just had to be like, okay, I'm talking to like the big person here. And I am like very much like a planner when I talk to people. I would rather write it out. That's why I'm a blogger, and this Facebook Live is a stretch for me. But I told my husband later, I was like, man, I was kind of just like caught off guard, because if I would have known that the president of the company was calling me, I would have had my notes, I would have had my questions, but I frantically got out a piece of paper and was taking notes from what he was saying and writing down questions that I had, because he was more than happy to answer any questions. And so let me just try to break down our conversation. One, he apologized. Two, he asked if we had any expenses that we had incurred. I said no, just emotional. It was not a fun night worrying about, I said our son's reaction was not bad, but it could have been, and it was the beginnings of what a bad one could be, and we're just very fortunate. I took the opportunity with him on the phone to explain food allergies and what a reaction could look like if it had been more severe. I said, if we would have had to have done the EpiPen and landed in the ER, yes, I would be sending you my ER bill. I have bought so many times and have never trusted giving them to my boys. Oh, Catherine, that's a wise decision if that's what you are deciding, because Cheryl and I did not make that decision, did we, Cheryl? My son was begging for them so badly, and I just, he really wanted those chocolate chip cookies. And again, the label showed no milk. So Cheryl and I, that's why we thought we were good. But comes to find out that there is milk in one of their plants. And Cheryl and I were talking to them. And so I got Cheryl in contact also with the president. It turned out that he was calling all of the families. He said that he had talked to, before he talked to me, he had talked to the 6 before me, and I said, I really hope, of course it was personal information, he couldn't tell me, but I said, I really pray that nobody had a severe reaction, and I was really hoping nobody had done the EpiPen and landed in the ER, but unfortunately, I find out from my friend Cheryl that she's at least one who did, so that really stunk, because I did not want to know that. I did not want that to be true. You've called them about 4 times and they've ensured that they were safe. Wow, Catherine, do you know when that was? Was this prior to a month ago or after? Because I really think, I mean, and Cheryl was unprepared too when he called, went like this. It was like I was talking to a friend. He was very concerned. Exactly. He was a very, very kind man in the conversation. Like, I could tell he was genuinely concerned. And I went on and on about how important good labeling is and how important it was for us to know manufacturing processes. Um, and I went as far to say, you know what, if you want the trust and commitment from food allergy families, you should really think about sourcing ingredients from allergy safe companies. I said, I even put in some plugs. I said, there's Enjoy Life, there's Pasha, they make chocolate chips. I said, if you could do that, that would be incredible for us. I said, I know that you run a business and maybe you can't do that. But I'm just throwing that out as a food allergy mom that that's what it's going to take at this point. Several times over the past several years, grilled them since we are milk, egg, peanut, tree nut, and sesame. Well, Catherine, that is good to know because I think that having talked to the president, and hopefully he is training the staff, that they are realizing that the smallest amount of contact with having dairy and nuts. I believe that dairy and nuts in there, well, they have a peanut butter cookie too. I didn't talk too much about peanut butter because we don't have a peanut butter allergy per se. And again, I was kind of caught off guard having this conversation. But you guys know what? I do have it on email. So if you guys have anything that you would like me to ask him, please leave a comment and I will absolutely do that for you. So I will email him any questions that you guys have, and I think that he feels like he should answer those for us. So go ahead and leave those, and I can go back and reference those, and I can email him for Monday. So he, again, was, can we ever trust your company again, Cheryl? And Cheryl, you did talk, you asked him that. Okay, and so Cheryl, let us know what he said to you about that. How you could trust the company. So when I was talking to him, again, the few things that came to my mind was this is so important. You don't realize how bad a reaction. And, you know, I used the D word talking to him. So I said, and I also gave him the story about the little girl, the 13-year-old Natalie, that went to camp with her parents. After your conversation with him, you continue to buy these products. Just curious how you feel about it since you spoke to him personally. So I will answer you, Pamela. Thank you for that question. But I just want you guys to know that I personally just told him how serious this was, food allergies and reactions, and how they are life-threatening for families that are very severe. I told him that it would be awesome if their company could source allergy-safe products, and that if they did that, they would have an awesome dedication from food allergy families buying their products. I will say that in that conversation, I mean, they source all their ingredients. So it's not like they have this factory where they are just making their own products. They are getting the ingredients from other companies and then they are making their products. So, I mean, that's like a step removed or 2 steps removed from them, like a Enjoy Life company that's has their products safe and making their products. So I kind of learned that too. Like there is something different between an allergy safe company making their own products and then some company just getting all these ingredients. Now the one things I missed the beginning of this, didn't have to do epi. What were his symptoms? Catherine, my son did not have to have the epi. He had one symptom of a throat that felt funny, and we had our allergist on the phone that night walking us through the steps that we needed to take, and he was fine. However, we have Cheryl on here whose daughter ate 2 cookies at school of the chocolate chunk back to nature cookies and had to have the one EpiPen and be in the ER. And so a big lesson on that is how third-party chocolate can often be contaminated with milk, unless it's like an Enjoy Life or a Pasha chocolate that is made super allergy safe for allergy families. So let me see, where am I at on my story here? So having the president on the phone, I gave him, you know, the story about food allergies, and let's see, I'm losing my train of thought. I'm trying to think here. I told him about the little girl at camp, and he said that he appreciated all of the feedback and that he would definitely take all of that into consideration, and that they had a lot of work to do on this issue. Now, I will say that they also had a recall on the sandwich cookies prior to this. I believe, within months, 6 months, sometime in 2016, I do believe. You guys, your comments are going really fast, so let's see, I just want to stop and make sure I've got them. He never addressed the question exactly about what he would do, but they were considering adding a may contain milk on the labels due to outsourcing of the ingredients. Right, Cheryl did tell me that. He told her that, and he didn't tell me that they are considering a may contain on their labels. And I told him that would be very important for us to have. Because some of us aren't as allergic as others. So I'm Milk Allergy Mom. I'm here helping the allergy families that have milk allergies, but we run the gamut from all the way to like my Miles and Cheryl's Lillian to just some people okay, there we are, we're back. My phone went out for a minute. So I know that some of you would still be okay eating things that had a little bit, I'm trying to make, I missed the beginning of this. At some point, can you do a live chat on Life Off after the EpiPen? Oh, that would be a really good one. Thank you for that, Allison. I am so open to things that you guys want to talk about. We have not EpiPenned Miles since he was 2, and he is 11. But Cheryl, I think, they had to do the EpiPen, and just in general, we will talk about that, but I'll just answer really fast that I think it takes about a week to 2, just to kind of get out of that fog and worry. I mean, there's longer, but I think that in general for me, and what I've heard is like a 1 to 2 week just fog of just back to reality. Like, wow, this is what we thought. This is the real deal. This is serious. And it really just rocks your world because things are going well for so long, and then you just realize, gosh, dang it, they're stinking this allergic still. Cheryl, do you think that kind of is how you feel too? And then you kind of just fall back into life and the groove, and you want to learn from the things that you are going to take away from the incident, and you just kind of just keep going. But let me see. So I want to talk about the products. So when I had the president on the phone, he said, "Can I send you some products?" And I about spit my water out because I was like, I don't know if I really want your products now. Come on, thumbs up to that. I expected a whole bunch of thumbs up. Like, I don't really know that I want your products. But he said, well, let me call in my head guy here. So he calls in this head guy and he says, okay, I've got one of the families on the phone that reacted to our cookies. Thanks. There's the thumbs up. Lots of cuddling, lots of checking. Absolutely. Lots of cuddling. I mean, you just put your life in perspective and you just watch them go to sleep and you give them lots of hugs. And yes, there's a lot of that going on, Cheryl. You are right. So he calls in his head guy. And he says, I have one of the families on the phone that had the milk reaction. I want to send her some products. Can you tell me absolutely which ones are going to be safe for them? So Enjoy Life Bag says made in a facility with dairy and soy, but on a dairy and soy free line. I'm going to have to look at that, Catherine, because I know that they just opened a plant that was all safe, but I wonder if they have a second plant. I'm going to have to check on that because I'm a huge fan. Thank you, Catherine, for that tidbit. I'm going to check that. And if anybody else has information about Enjoy Life, let us know, because I thought that they got a new factory. Maybe they have some old bags out, but they have a new factory that they went from Illinois to Indiana. You still, from 5 years ago, oh, bless your heart. It's always there a little bit, that's for sure. So he calls in his guy to talk about what products. And I said, he's like, okay, now what are your allergies again? I said, dairy and nut. And so he was kind of going through, I'm trying to catch you guys. Struggling coughing, and my daughter still makes, oh yeah, when they cough, when they, you're right. Every little thing we take note of and keep an eye on them. I need to take a picture. Hang on. Looking at it now. Thank you, Catherine. So he calls in his head guy who knows the factories. And so here's a big takeaway. It turns out that they have I believe, two factories. And this guy knew, I mean, they seemed really confident, especially through his head guy that was in his office, which products would be made in Illinois. See, I think Illinois is the shared facility in Chicago. Very good. Good to know. And so I think that their Indiana one is, check on their Facebook page, but I watched them do the grand opening live and everything, and it was supposed to be like a great, awesome facility for Enjoy Life. We're talking about Enjoy Life, not Back to Nature, and how we think that we can trust their chocolate to a really good degree. So he calls in his head guy, and we're talking nuts, and we're talking dairy, and we're talking two factories. And so the president actually said, he goes, you know what? I would not eat anything with chocolate in it if I were you guys, because the contamination's just, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like, totally, dude. No more chocolate for us. But it turns out they had sourced that chocolate chip and dropped them immediately. The company that made the chocolate chip said, oh, we're going to get stuff fixed. We're sorry that happened. And Back to Nature did drop, according to the president. Cheryl says the same. They dropped the maker of that chocolate immediately. And I actually took him back to that 6 month ago or whatever cookie sandwich recall and said, by any chance, was that a third party contamination too? And he said, yes, it was. And we dropped them immediately after the contamination. So the good news is it seems like the president has a zero tolerance contamination. Once something happens, they drop the company, even if they promise to make changes. Now, another thing that I recommended to him, I said, here's the options that I would like to see. One, you go totally allergy friendly ingredients. Two, you label on your boxes exactly what your processing is. If they're in the if the allergens are in the factory, on the lines, we want to know that. And I said, three, there's companies like So Delicious that test their batches, or like Bob's Red Mill. They donate. He has a family member with a food allergy. He might have told me that, Cheryl. Thank you for sharing that, because I think I forgot that. Two with allergies when they cough. Right. Oh, I know. I am like a hawk. When Miles has anything, I'm like, are you okay? And he's like, Mom, I'm fine. And I can just tell. I know he's like, yeah, Mom, I just choked on my food. Wrong pipe. Sorry. But otherwise, yeah, that's why I have them home with me so much. And I know I'm more overprotective than a lot of you. And I know you guys all have different lifestyles, but I am with my kids a lot. Probably more than the average parent. So the third thing I said allergy-free ingredients, better labeling on your boxes, or three, test your products to make sure they're not contaminated before you send them out to the public. There's companies that do that. So like So Delicious, if you read their box, they say they test, or is it Silk that tests? One of them tests their products to make sure. And then like Bob's Red Mill, they donate like the first so many batches when they switch over from one thing to another, just to work out anything that's in the line. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So I told him about those three things. Now, he didn't say, it's so much harder for me. My 9 is nonverbal. That is hard, Judith. That is very, very hard. My heart, yes, that is hard, because I know I just kept banking on Miles getting older to be able to help us sort through just things that we couldn't see. And so that would be really hard. If we were at a play date and one of my daughter's friends cough. You guys keep going. You guys chat with each other. I just want to make sure I'm not missing any big questions. If I am, bring it back around, because all I can see is one comment at a time. Deep breathing exercises. Oh my goodness. So I gave him those 3 suggestions. He said, I'm going to send you an email. You will have my email. Send me your address. I'm going to send you products. And I'm thinking, I don't know if I really want your products. However, in hindsight, I'm like, I'm glad I have the products, because for those of you who know from proven history that you are not as severe as maybe we are, you can see what they told me they thought was safe for dairy allergy and even for nut allergy. So he said, I'm not sending you anything with chocolate in it. No chocolate chips cookies for you. And he said, I believe that he said, now I think that they have 2 plants. Cheryl, tell me if you got this too. 2 plants. And he said that the granola, I would not want the granola because it was in a plant with like their trail mixes. I believe they make trail mixes with the nuts. Your daughter was wired after the epi. Oh, wow. Does that make them feel weird? Feels jittery and hot. Yes, but I have been reading you guys over and over just about how there's no downside to using them. I'll tell you, when we did Miles's epi, when he was almost 3, he was a week away from turning 3, and he ate 2 bites of Kraft cheese. We were in the car in 5 minutes with a lip that looked like it was going to burst. We gave him the epi halfway to the ER. Now, this was when protocol was a lot different than it is now. So this was 9 years ago. And we did drive him, and we gave him the epi halfway in the car. I was like, you've got to stop. You've got to do it. He is out of it. And so his eyes were really glazy, and he is just very lethargic. So we did the epi, and like immediately he perked up. Like he started crying, but that was it was a good cry. He went from like totally lethargic with the epi to just perked up, cried. We were surprised that there was blood, so we actually had extra diapers there, and we put a diaper over it. There is no bad side effect, exactly. So Cheryl, did it bleed when you did it? So I mean, he just perked up, but this was when he was 2. This was not with the cookies because we did not epi. So you guys have been hanging on strong. Thank you so much. I hope that this is helpful to you guys. I really like the conversation going on here. I am probably going to send the link to this video to Back to Nature, to the president on email, and say we had this conversation. I don't remember about a bruise, but mine was a long time ago. Cheryl should be able to answer you. You know, I'll let him know we had this discussion. I've told him, I'm just like, I have blogged about your company. I've blogged about your crackers. My son likes your crackers, and want to keep the line of communication open. I understand if you can't go completely allergy friendly. I know that you're a business, and the bottom line is probably the most important to you, but this cannot happen anymore. This is horrible for these families, especially families like Cheryl's, who's had the epi from this. And I would rather be in communication with you and know what's going on at your company than just get mad at you. And there's no, and Cheryl and I agree on this, there's no good in just being mad and telling everybody to boycott them. You know, it is a good company making natural foods for people that can eat things that are processed in plants with allergens. I'm so mad, irresponsible. The labels do need to, the labels absolutely. That is not a question. The ingredients, you know, they can do that or not do that. The testing, they can do that or not do that. But absolutely the labels need to say it. And I think that he got that message. And we will make sure that he knows that you guys agree with me. But anyway, I wanted to keep the line of communication open. And he said they were making changes. So before I did this video, I emailed him and said, can you tell me what you have decided? Because I want to let my readers know. And he just said, I will let you. He said, yes, we are still in the works of making the decisions that need to be made regarding this and the allergies. And he actually added something extra, like, I will let you know what we're going to do, and I will let you know the timeline on what that looks like for what our plans are going to be. So now that we have done this video, I'm going to check in with him on Monday on email and say, we've had the discussion. I couldn't wait any longer. I had to let my readers know what happened and see if he has an update for us. We haven't seen an allergist, just GI, waiting for his next scope. Oh, the EOE. Right. Okay, Judith, there's a lot to it, isn't there? Lots of steps and stuff. So have you guys had a reaction before, Judith? Just curious. And so now I want to go through the products that he sent me. Big disclaimer here. I hope everybody watches this with the sound on, that these are the products that he had his main guy in, the guy that knew all the factory stuff, 2 different factories, one with nuts and their trail mix, and he said also their what was I saying, granola is made in that factory. He's like, so you don't want any of that. If you have nut allergies, you don't want granola because that's processed with our nuts and our trail mix. But then there's a second factory. So he called in his dude. We haven't, okay, I still have Judith's comment on there. And he's like, is this going to be safe? Does this run on this line with this? Does this? And I was like, honestly, again, I was not prepared for this conversation, so I apologize. I wish that I could give you really, really specifics on all these products that I'm going to show you, but all I can say is the owner, the CEO of Back to Nature, and his head factory line dude were in the room, and they assured me that the products that they were going to send me would be the safest for dairy allergy and a nut allergy. Okay, so that is the disclaimer. I'm going to show you the products that they sent. There's not a lot, but the products that they sent, and I really wanted my son to try these before I did this video, but we haven't. So that is my other disclaimer. We have not personally, the dude, yes, he sounded like an important dude. So we have not personally tested these. Now, will we? Somebody asked me that question. What would you guys do? I don't know. This is something that honestly I would talk to my husband about, and we just haven't had the discussion yet of if we are going to. My son loves their crackers. I really, really loved their graham crackers because I really liked they were natural. And I don't know about you guys, but when I see homemade graham crackers on Pinterest, my head kind of spins. So you would be terrified, Allison. That is okay. I want to know this, what you guys would think. But the thing is, I really think that the cookie was about and it is a personal choice. You're right, Cheryl. So if the milk had been like a contamination, like a milk powder or something like wafting through the air at the factory, I would absolutely say no. Like there's stuff floating all over. We aren't doing this. The fact that it was a third-party chocolate assures me a little bit more, okay? We would definitely do the one bite, me supervising to make sure he doesn't forget. My son is not rebellious at all. Like he is the firstborn, type A like me. He only forgot to not eat the whole cookie. It wouldn't have been on purpose. Find out if the allergic employee would let their kid try it. That's a good question. And it's not the employee. Wasn't it, Cheryl, wasn't it the actual CEO who has families with food allergies, family members with food allergies? So I'm going to show you what they think. And for those of you not super allergic, you might be like, oh, okay, well, cool. We can have those because they say that they're pretty. I mean, you should never go by what somebody else says. I'm just doing this informational. Like, do you guys want to see the products? Because I don't want to confuse or mess anybody up. Yes, a family member of the CEO has food allergies. So there's not a lot here. I'm going to show them to you. And you can do whatever you want with the information. But I wanted to use this as a tool. They're going to send it to me. If they've got their head factory dude up here, I'm going to use the information to help you guys. Okay. So a lot of them were the crackers, okay? And Miles really has always liked the crackers. We have not eaten anything from the company since this happened. Again, I'm going to consult with my husband. And if we do the crackers and stuff again, no, there's no such thing as snarky on here, you guys. We're all like, psh, that wasn't very cool that our kids had reactions. So I love you guys. You guys all have great attitudes and you're nice and positive and supportive. That's why I love this community so much. Where do you normally buy this brand? That's a good question. I never had it at my Target, which is why I kind of went flipped out when they had it at the Target out of town at soccer. We did not eat out of town because I knew that it was a bit of a gamble. So some Targets have it, some Targets don't. I don't know. I don't shop at Walmart very often. We've made the choice not to buy their products. Our house is milk free. Oh, that was Cheryl that said that. It's everywhere. So Catherine says it's everywhere. Kroger. I'm so glad I found this page. Thank you. Welcome, Tersta. We are happy to have you. So I blog at Milk Allergy Mom, in case you missed that memo. And we've been there for 8 years, 11-year-old anaphylactic milk allergy, and just sharing everything that we can to help and walk along this journey with you guys. I am no expert. I'm walking along right with you guys and wanting to learn from you as well. So have this discussion with my husband first, see what we think. If he tries anything, it'll be the 1 bite and wait rule. And Lord help us, if we had another reaction, I'll be calling that president, and I don't even know. Might become, I don't know. We won't talk about that because hopefully that won't happen. But I'll let you guys know what we decide. All right, the first thing that they sent me was Back to Nature's honey graham sticks, which my kids really, really like these. And I've always liked them just because a natural graham cracker is hard to find. And like I said, I don't make homemade graham crackers. I'll eat, sometimes the generic graham crackers will have milk in them, so be careful. We always try to buy the name brand one, the Honey Made. And we have something on our blog about making gingerbread houses out of honey made graham crackers. So be sure to check that out. If somebody leaves me a note, I will try to link it for you because it's a really fun tradition that we do here. I don't believe the recent Allergy Eats Restaurant Award winner. One dish cuisine, total joke. Oh, what is that? I'm missing what that means. I don't believe the recent Allergy Eats Restaurant Award winner. I don't know. I don't know what that means, though. If you want to explain a little more, somebody else might. I might be getting like delirious here. The other thing that they sent, and we've never had these before, is Madagascar vanilla wafers. So I guess it's a vanilla wafer that is dairy-free. So that was a cookie, but it doesn't have chocolate in it at all. It says it only contains wheat. Okay. The other thing that they sent me that they believed would be safe for dairy allergies and nut allergies is the Harvest whole wheat crackers. So I know everything's backwards. It's just Facebook. I can't do anything about it, so I read it to you. Back to Nature Harvest whole wheat crackers. So these are kind of like wheat thins is what they look like. You guys, this is kind of funny, but my mom asked me, she watched one of these videos once, and she asked me why I wear my wedding ring on the right hand. I was like, Mom, the Facebook video lives are backwards. I wear my wedding ring on the right hand, on the left hand, but it just shows it as the wrong one. And she said, I wonder how many people wondered about that. So if you guys were worried about my wedding ring, it really is on the correct hand. It's just Facebook. So see, Facebook is giving us a bad rap if we're married. All right. The next product that they sent me that they claim is safe for dairy allergies and nut allergies is Classic Rounds crackers. These are like Ritz. These are the ones that I bought Miles a lot because he is a Ritz cracker-aholic. We buy the Nabisco brand, and I really liked that those were natural. So he was kind of bummed about that if he can't have those anymore. Oh, and this is another cookie. So we've never had these either. So this is the California lemon cookies. So I really think that the company is confident about their cookies if it doesn't have chocolate in it. So again, they sent lemon cookies, vanilla cookies, and then crackers. They sent the Classic Rounds, and those are graham crackers. And so Classic Rounds and the wheat, thin sort of things. And then the graham crackers, which would really stink if we can't have those anymore. Something that makes me more nervous than crackers. Sorry. This is just, those are delicious. Which ones, Catherine? The thing that makes me super nervous, and there's no way I'm giving this to Miles. We've never eaten it before. It's not something he would miss. However, my husband might think it's cool to take to work, is their soups. I didn't even know they made soup. But for those of you that are like, we're not super severe dairy allergic, a convenient soup, okay, they sent these to you thinking the lemon cookies. Okay, good to know. I don't even, what are they compared to? Is there something mainstream that they compare to? I'm not a big lemon person, so they sent gluten-free smoky chipotle and vegetable quinoa chili. I did not even know they made soup. I don't find these locally. They say that I would be okay with these with a dairy allergy and a nut allergy. There's not even a contains statement on it. Water, tomatoes, I'm just going to condense here. Tomato juice, salt, citric acid, black bean, kidney bean, corn, onion, bell peppers, quinoa, carrot, tomato paste, roasted poblano, chili pepper, cornstarch, potato starch, sea salt, cumin, onion powder, chili powder, garlic powder, coriander, chipotle, chili powder, paprika, and oregano. Okay. You would maybe trust this, Allison. See, we are all so different because in my mind, I'm like, no way. That's like how many ingredients? Like there's 20 there. So that freaks me out. But see, that's why, this is why Facebook Live is so awesome, you guys. Like, when have you ever been able to sit down with an allergy mom and be like, now, what's your opinion on that soup and what's your opinion on those cookies? So I love this, you guys. This is what we need to do, like, once a week is hang out and talk about allergies. So Catherine says she wouldn't try this. So then there's no right or wrong answer. Like, nothing bugs me more than food allergy forums and Facebook groups and whatever, where everybody starts bickering at each other about their choices in their food allergy life, because you need to do this more in the evening. Allison, that is the plan. I actually figured out how to get into my Facebook stats, and it shows me that you guys are on Facebook. The majority of people, of my readers, are on Facebook between like 3 and 4, and then we have dinner time, so not very many people are on between like 5 and 6, but then back between 6 and 8. So I was like, I'm doing this at 7. Cheryl, bless her heart, is an hour later than me. So after watching this, I just researched about the recalls, and it seems like there was also a recall on their cookies. Yes, we talked about that, the sandwich cookies. That's what I was calling them. And the sandwich cookie recall was another third-party ingredient, and they dropped that third-party supplier just like they did the chocolate chip supplier. But as allergy parents, can we wait until something happens for them to drop unreliable companies? So I don't think that that is like the best answer for us. We need the statements on the boxes, but the statements have to come one step back from the companies that are supplying the food. So I can see how there's some work in that. I mean, the guy I talked to, the president, will have to go to all of his sources for all of his products and get their statements and make sure that there's a nice condensed blanket statement on the Back to Nature products. So that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. And I will find out what they have decided and let you guys know. So there are the 2 soups, which some of you would do and some of you would not, and that is perfectly fine. There is no right or wrong answer. All we can do is make the best informed decision for ourselves, and it just helps to hear from other moms about what they think, because sometimes we don't think about things that other people think about. I love knowing my paranoia kept me from like, boys eat. Yes, I am glad that they did not eat the cookies. That is very good. In fact, when I was letting you guys know on Facebook Live at 3 o'clock that we would be on here at 7 o'clock, somebody mentioned milk and dog food, and somebody else commented, I'm so glad you said that. I wouldn't have thought of that. So these discussions, Facebook Live is awesome. Like, I can't believe we get this for free. So it's very, very cool. It's like having a meeting for free. all we need to do is like have our Starbucks with us, right? And that would be awesome. So I'm looking, now this other soup is the minestrone with farro soup. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing stuff right. And birdseed. Yes, birdseed can also. Curious where your child is able to safely eat French fries. We don't eat out. My son had his first restaurant French fries at Disney a month or so ago, but otherwise we don't eat out in restaurants. The first time he had ever eaten in a restaurant was at Disney a month ago, and that was a huge, huge breakthrough for our family. But we are very severe and have made the personal decision not to eat in restaurants. But not everybody makes that decision. There are lots of food bloggers that talk about places like Red Robin and Chick-fil-A. Not everything's safe. You have to do your research, but we don't. So if you want to know that about me, we don't, but we don't tell you not to because everybody's different. But that is our choice on the restaurants. And we also homeschool. So if you guys want to drop me like a hot potato now, you can. But we decided to homeschool for preschool just to see how it went, and it went really, really well. And then we tried to enroll at kindergarten in a neighborhood that we live in. We moved super close to the school on purpose so I could hang out there and be available, and it just was not, just wasn't meant to be. And so we have homeschooled all these years. And again, each person is comfortable with their own things, and it's totally fine. Side note, I read that, oh, I'm going to come back and look at that. It went by, but I think it's about not seeing things backwards. Okay, so 2 soups is what they sent, saying that they thought that these were dairy safe and nut safe. Sometimes we still go Mexican and bring her tacos. Oh, going into, oh, so Lori and Doug homeschool too. Yay, awesome. How long have you guys homeschooled? Touching a dog food or floor where my daughter has reactions. Yeah, touch reactions to the, gosh, where somebody spit. That's, I hope it's not very severe, but it could be. Let us know. So 2 soups. 2 soups that they say might be, we have never ever had these. I think I make a lot of homemade soup. I make a lot of homemade broth. This is not something that we would try new. If it was from an allergy safe company, yes, but I'm not even going to try these. It's not something Miles will miss that I'm saying I'm taking away from you, so we won't do these, but Jeff can take them to work. But I did not know Back to Nature made soup, and they say that these should be safe for milk and nut allergies. Catherine, you're sweet. You know, I actually am the director of a homeschool group, and it's my mission to tell people that anybody can homeschool. But I totally get what you're saying. It's trying and hard some days, but the rewards have been awesome, and I've seen a lot of fruit. So we're just keep going, and we do take it year by year. I'm not like, this is what we have to do and blah, 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 blah. But we take it year by year, and so far it's going well, and we've really enjoyed it. So if anybody ever has questions about homeschooling, feel free to ask me. Now, the other thing that they sent is kind of fun. Now, I'd say the soup is on the far end of, oh my gosh, I don't think I can trust that at all. But some of you could and would, so that's okay. And then the cookies and crackers are kind of like a medium, like, well, we've had these before, they've been okay. Public school co-op, court, but I still love you. Thank you, Sarah. Like I said, to each their own, no judgment at all. If people go out to eat, if they go to public school, if they go on vacation, if they fly around the world, like, we are all so different. You have to do what's best for you guys. That's my full-time job, reading ingredients. Yes. Okay, so the thing that I think, you guys let me know your opinion, that I think is on the other extreme of, okay, I think that would be fun, and I think there's probably not milk in that, is juice. So I can never find these locally, but they sent us 4 flavors of juice, and my kids would really, really like to have these, but we haven't yet. And amen, yes, do what works for you, Allison, because all our kids are different, and all of us are different. So what one person needs to do to be safe is not necessarily what another person needs to do to be safe. You've been homeschooling for 4 years. That's cool. So this first juice is fruit punch, 100% filtered water, fruit juice concentrate, apple, pear, and cherry, natural flavors, which some of you guys don't like that, but some of you doesn't bother you, and citric acid for tartness. Back to nature, juice beverages contain no artificial preservatives. Do not drink if the pouch is leaking or damaged, as fermentation can occur. So there's a statement on the juice about if it's leaking or damaged. My cookies were damaged, right, Cheryl? Our cookies were damaged and it didn't have that statement. All right, fruit punch. This might be my longest video ever, and the longest that people have stayed on ever, so I'm totally, like, excited about this. Apple juice. These are heavy. More fruit punch. Did I just show you fruit punch? Yeah, more fruit punch. And berry. 100% berry juice. So, Tersa says that the juices work for her. Emily Elizabeth just joined us. Awesome. For those of you join us, we are talking about the Back to Nature recall on the chocolate chunk cookies about a month ago. Are those like Capri Sun pouches or boxes? They're pouches from the picture, but I'll open one up. Why not? We're all here. We're all here for a show, so yes, they are little pouches. And I would love a natural juice for the kids. So do you guys use the pouches okay? Has anybody had any problems with that, or does anybody religiously drink them? I would love to know. So I just want to recap. We talked about the recent recall by Back to Nature, their chocolate chunk cookies that my son had a mild reaction to before the recall came out, so we knew there was something wrong. 2 days later, we see the email come over that it's a recall. I get in touch with the company. We have some talks. I advocate for food allergies as best as I can on a whim as the phone call comes in from the CEO and president unexpectedly. I connect with Cheryl, one of our readers, who had to use an EpiPen because her daughter ate 2 of the cookies. Honest Brand is all natural and made local. Very good. Good to know. I have all this juice too, so let me know if I should drink it. Roaring Waters and Water. You guys all have some great juice suggestions. So I connect with Cheryl, whose daughter had an EpiPen from the chocolate chunk cookies after eating 2 of them, and an hour later delayed reaction. Just took 1 Epi. I know that the company said that there were a handful at least of reactions. I don't know how bad the others were. All I know is mine and Cheryl's. It was from cross contact in the company, in the a different facility where they made the chocolate chips. I would recommend, from my own personal learning in this, that eating any straight up chocolate, if you have a severe dairy allergy, there's a good chance it could be contaminated unless it's from a very special allergy safe chocolate company. So that is the lesson that I learned. Cheryl learned that she's going to call companies about their processing, because Back to Nature does not put on their packages at this point their processing procedures on lines or factories. When I advocated to the president on the phone, I suggested 3 things, and I also did this in email, that, and this is just something I have to do as an allergy parent, whether they're going to do it or not, I don't know. The CEO offered to send food. He offered to send Cheryl food too, but I think that she declined. So I want to read that note in a minute. But yes, Cheryl declined the food. I took the food so that I could show you, because he pulled in his head factory dude. Keep calling him the factory dude. They have 2 factories. The nuts and granola are made in one factory that I know of, and then he sent all of these products that I just showed. You'll have to go back and see them if you're just popping on, that he thought were dairy and nut safe, with his consultant guy in the room knowing all of the lines. It's totally a disclaimer that it's up to you which foods you eat or don't eat, but I just wanted to show you what the company sent of what they thought would be safe. I suggested 3 things to the CEO. That 1, they source allergy safe ingredients so that allergy parents can eat their food with confidence and be good supporters of Back to Nature. I suggested too that they need to do clear labeling on the packages of if it's processed in a plant or on a line with other allergens, which I'm assuming might be difficult because they source a lot of different ingredients from different places, but we'll see what he comes back with. I don't have an answer on that yet, but Cheryl says that they're thinking about that. And 3, I recommended that they test the foods after they make them for allergens, which I'm sure would be a very expensive endeavor. So then the CEO does not have an answer on what new procedures they are going to do. We do know that they have ditched any company that has caused a recall, an allergen recall, even though they will say that they're going to clean up their act. He does not tolerate any company that has had contamination issues for their products, and they are deciding what they're going to do after having the sandwich cookie recall and the chocolate chunk cookie recall in the same year. He is supposed to email me and give me a timeline on what actions that they are going to take, and when I know that information, I will certainly pass that on to you guys. My boys are asking where you are coming from. What state we're in. So I'm in Illinois, and I don't know where Cheryl is, but if you guys all want to tell where you live, that would be awesome to know. It sounds like we have some little boys on with us, which is fun. Mine aren't actually running around in the back doing weird things like usually happens, so that's kind of cool. Although I want to do more cooking videos. I have some plans to do some baking with you guys on live, and my kids are usually a part of that in the kitchen, so beware and be ready for some more fun, more lighthearted videos to come. Somebody's in Atlanta. That's Cheryl in Atlanta. I was just through there going down to Disney. So we'll do a video sometime about us eating at Disney World, because it's kind of, it was kind of a whirlwind too. It was not just a straight up, hey, we went to Disney and ate there. There was a lot of nuances about us eating there. Thank you guys for saying where you're from. That's a very fun thing. We should do that more often. And so the company sent me products that I just showed. You'll have to go back to see that they thought were safe for milk allergy. It's your discretion if you want to use them, especially before and hopefully if they start labeling their packages. So both of our kids are safe and sound, which is what is most important. Cheryl's little girl is doing well, and Miles is doing well. I'm going to talk with my husband now that I've gotten this video over. I didn't want to eat any of this food until we got on here and talked. So we're going to have discussion about what we're going to or not going to eat. I would assume that we are not going to do the soup because he never has done the soup, and we would not be taking anything away by not doing it. The juice seems to be, I don't know that juice, disclaimer, juice could be contaminated just like anything else, but my own comfort level, I think the juice would be okay for my family. And the cookies and the crackers are where it's kind of like, I don't know. So my husband and I will talk about that, and I'll let you guys know what we decide. So I have thoroughly enjoyed the interaction with you guys tonight. We covered a lot of stuff. I think I did everything that I wanted to do and share and say. I did not have any notes. And it's been like a month, so I was hoping that this would go well. Cheryl, I so appreciate you being on here with us. So we've had a request about life after EpiPen. Cheryl, if you want to partner with me on that, since you have had it recently, we can think about doing that. If you guys have any other requests, like I want to be your allergy blogger that talks about real life. So I don't want to just have fancy recipes with pretty pictures that look incredibly awesome and maybe hard to make. My stuff is real life. I want to talk about more than recipes. I want to talk about just more than those things. I want to talk about EpiPens, and I want to talk about how to do holidays and how to do birthday parties and just how to live everyday life with food allergies, because that's that's what I'm comfortable talking about. That's what I've been doing for 11 years. And that is what I have to bring to the table, is how you just live everyday life, whether you choose to do school or homeschool. Like, I know that there's lots of options, and I just want to introduce or tell you the options of eating the cookies or not eating the cookies, or trying the soup or not trying the soup. Like, it's more about just laying out the options and the things that you need to think about, and then letting you guys make the decisions for yourself that you think are best for your family. So I hope that this is kind of a different take on food allergies, that you are, that's kind of filling a need in your life, because that's what keeps me doing this each day. It takes a lot of time away from my family, a lot of time from homeschooling and all the other things that I need to do. My house is like never clean because I honestly get so excited about walking alongside with you guys. And honestly, it was like my initial prayer when we were diagnosed, is like, I got to help people. If we're going to have to deal with this, I'm going to have to use this somehow productively, or I'm going to lose my mind. There's got to be a reason for this. Have you thought about speaking at conventions or colleges to educate more people? I would not be opposed to that. I enjoy speaking, and I guess the biggest thing I've done with that is I went to my sister's preschool and did training for their teachers on how to use the EpiPens. And that was before my sister had her little girl, who ends up being severely allergic to egg and milk too. We're like her best babysitters. I don't know if Ashley's on here, but that is my dear sister. I did training once for her preschool, but now she's a pro. So she does her own preschool training. But, you know, I kind of just like to be where in the stage that I am, like sort of the expert in tween and remembering all the stuff back to toddler. We haven't gotten into college stuff yet, but honestly, I had food allergies. I am one of those who has had food allergies my whole life and didn't know it. So I was sick all the time, stomach aches all the time. Everybody thought I was that person who just wanted attention, laying on the couch, moaning and groaning. But no, it turns out I had a lot of food allergies. Now that I've been tested, I have like over 60. And I have cut out a lot of stuff in my own diet. And I'm feeling so much better and off of all my medications. So another video that I promised someday is how I got off of Nexium. And I was on Nexium for a decade because of eating things that I was allergic to. So I wasn't anaphylactic, I didn't break out in hives, but I had all these body system issues because I was eating foods that I could not tolerate. Yeah, right, a lot of people don't get it. So that's what we're here for, you guys. Send this video on to grandparents or aunts and uncles or something if that is helpful. Be sure to, you can tag people in the comments if you guys want anybody to see this discussion. I would love for it to make it around the circuit so that you know, Back to Nature knows that this is important to us. I would never be like the person to say boycott or do something like that to the general public, but as allergy parents, we have to make the best decisions for us, and we want to share the information so that other people know that this is an issue, and our kids do have reactions to cross-contamination in factories, and that labeling is probably, I mean, the biggest lesson here is probably labeling. Like, we can't demand companies to make things certain ways, can't demand to be accommodated on ingredients and stuff, but we can certainly expect that labels are clear so that our kids are safe. I guess that would be one of the biggest takeaways from all of this. So I appreciate you guys so very much. You guys can keep the interaction going. You can comment. You guys can hang out. It's Friday night. Like, we've got nothing better to do than hang out on Facebook and chat with each other. So I'm going to go back through the comments here after I go spend some time with my family, because I know this has been long and I have no idea what they're doing. But I'm going to go check in with them, and then through the weekend I will be on here checking the comments and seeing how much you guys hung out together. And we will keep doing this. It has been fun, and I think we're just progressing into like even a stronger community, and I love it. Love it. It makes all the work worth it. I've been doing this for 8 years. I honestly didn't know if anybody was listening or cared, and I'm just starting to really see the fruit of doing this well and efficiently and in a way that really technology is just so much better than it used to be. And I thank you guys so much for using it with me and being here. You guys have a wonderful night. Be safe. Check your labels. Call your companies. Do what you need to do. I am so happy that we are here to support each other. And one of the new things that I'm saying is we want less stress, more confidence, and lots of happiness, because I think that we all deserve to have a happy life even with food allergies. If you are not on our email list, I am starting to do a weekly email that's very thank you guys for all the flying hearts. A weekly email on Friday nights or Saturdays that is like my best information from the week. I just sent it out tonight to let you know I would be on here, so we could catch as many people as possible. But I gave like one recipe, the best recipe from the week, one recall that I thought would affect more people than anybody, one new research information. This was about another cure that they're possible cure they're looking at. And then I referenced our new Amazon page full of dairy-free treats that you might want to throw in your cart while you're Christmas shopping. So I want that email to be like the best information for the week. And sometimes it won't be something that's been on Facebook or the blog. So if you are on our email list, we will send you 45 free dairy-free dinners printable for you, and we will make sure that you get the best information in your email each week. It's a promise that I'm making that I'm going to have to keep. All right, this is Jamie with Milk Allergy Mom, helping you guys navigate your food allergy journey. We hope you have a great weekend. Bye.